All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for your patience this morning. We are very excited to be here with Nutri-Genetix Ltd, the world's first genetically personalized meal shake. We're doing a 5 million convertible note. And with that, let's go around and meet our speakers today. Let's kick it off with the U.S. Capitol team. I am Vanessa Guajardo, our Chief of Staff over here, currently in Las Vegas. Let's hop over to Frank. Frank, say your name and just a little bit about your background.
Hi, I'm Frank Villarreal, Senior Vice President with US Capital Global. I've worked at the firm for roughly about 6 years, and I'm working on this transaction, heading up US distribution for the opportunity, and very excited to be with you today.
Perfect. Thank you. And Roger, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, hi. I'm the old granddad. I've been around the markets for 40 years. Been with US Capital for 3 years and set up the London office 3 years ago. And the London office is growing fast, and it's great to have local clients like Nutri-Genetix, which is really exciting. It's getting a lot of attention already, and so very much looking forward to working with the team to close this one.
Perfect, thank you. And Jeremy, just say a little bit about yourself. We won't dive into the slide deck yet.
So hi everyone, my name is Jeremy Poland. I'm CEO and co-founder of NGX. I have spent a career nearly 15 years in the health and wellness industry, launching brands for quite a number of Fortune 250 companies like Pfizer, GSK, Johnson & Johnson, those that like. And yeah, and that was before coming in and starting NGX with Alex a few years ago.
Very good. Hi, I'm Alex Blythe. I'm the original inventor behind NGX. I'm a serial entrepreneur, inventor, and biologist, and I've spent just over 2 decades working in healthcare and innovation.
Perfect, thank you all. So let's do this. Actually, let's talk about the executive summary just very briefly, and we'll dive into it again afterwards, but just so the audience knows what the opportunity is here. And then I will walk us through the investor portal. Frank and Roger, do you want to speak to the executive summary?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the offering is a Reg D 506C, which means anyone can look at this deal. It's 5 million sterling convertible note with a 36-month tenor. It's a 20% discount, either at the 36-month expiry or at any qualified financing. The coupon is 10% per annum, which is accrued and a balloon payment at the end. And there is a minimum investment of 150,000 sterling.
Perfect. Love that. And with that, I am going to show everyone where they can find this online. 1 second here. So if you come over to our homepage, uscapital.com, under the invest button, we'll come to all investment opportunities. Enter your email and continue here. And Nutri-Genetix will be right here on top. You can also access it through our general solicitation offerings, and it'll be the first tile here. Both portals have exactly the same material. One's hosted for 506B and 506C, so NGX gets double publicity here. And with that, Jeremy, I'm going to switch over to you. And let's dive into the deck and tell everyone what NGX is.
Sure, thank you.
All right, and you should receive a pop-up right now. And to the audience, this is live, so just chat in your questions, and we can call on you in real time. This will be a fun and casual way to learn about NGX here.
Great. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Okay. Looks perfect.
Great. Okay, so as I mentioned, my name is Jeremy, CEO and co-founder of NGX, which is a new personalized food tech company that has developed the world's first and only patented genetically personalized nutrition platform. And that's for helping people achieve a fitter, happier, and longer life. And as Vanessa mentioned, this is a £5 million convertible note opportunity where we're looking to achieve 30 to 50x over the next sort of 5 to 7 years in terms of investor ROI. And that's to help us. We'll be using the capital to help us grow our brand partnerships. So we've had some very successful pilots already with the likes of American Express, AXA, Barclaycard, and we've been featured well in women's health and men's fitness. And we also were a winner on Dragon's Den, which is a UK TV investment show not so long ago. So huge early traction, very promising. And we'll be using the capital to expand our product portfolio of personalized powders, reporting, and then into the likes of vitamins, minerals, food bars, ready meals, and quite an extensive R&D pipeline. So, Alex, did you want to talk to the team?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, no, pleasure to be here. And I think it's worth saying that another major drive for the capital is to expand into the US market, which we see as a prime market for this product, as I'm sure you'll agree by the end of this presentation. So I'm the chairman of NGX, but I also am a biotech entrepreneur. I built a company called Lift Biosciences, which is a cancer company where we develop a cell therapy. And I built that company because my mother died of pancreatic cancer. And during the course of doing that, I found it quite hard to be as motivated as I once was with earlier endeavors. And so I went to a doctor and basically was trying to understand how I could get my mojo back. And I do this now as a 45-year-old, then as someone approaching 40. And basically the doctor told me that I needed to adjust my nutrition and I needed to start going to the gym to really get myself going in the morning. So I tried this and I went to the gym and I then got these nutrition shakes from regular sources. And I basically found that you'd crash after a while on these protein shakes because they were full of sugar and rubbish, really, particularly, if I'm honest, the American brands. And what then transpired is that as a biologist, I started looking at the back and realizing that this was terrible nutrition. This wasn't going to help me at all. So I paid £10,000 to develop my own genetically personalized nutrition after having a DNA report done on myself. Now, these DNA reports that are normally done by companies like 23andMe and DNA Fit, you sadly can't do anything with the actual result normally. So it tells you what you should be doing in a sort of fantasy world, and then you go back to having your usual diet and it makes no difference. So what I instead did was took exactly what the ingredients said what the nutrition said I should have, which, by the way, was massively different from the recommended daily allowance that we all believe is correct. And most of us don't even get to anyway, where I found I needed 3 times as much vitamin D as most people, and hence I was getting low mood in the winter. I found I needed 6 times as much vitamin B12, and hence I was getting sort of tired and irritable in the afternoons and really lacked my mojo in the mornings. And so when I actually got my shape back, it really transformed my life. I started being able to really have the energy to get going. I no longer felt like a 40-year-old. I really felt like someone who could get up and make things happen. And so I was driving things forward. Jeremy's been a good friend of mine for many years. In fact, we've worked together and built a consulting company beforehand, before doing this. And I shared this experience with him, and he was so impressed with the results when he then himself tried it, where I explained I'd dropped my body weight from 25% to 13%. And then, as all youngsters do, he betted me and did it in half the time. And basically was also so impressed. And so Jeremy has a really strong background in this area. He used to work with Abbott Nutrition on a product called Ensure. He's also very dedicated to the sport and fitness industry. And so Jeremy basically was the right guy to really head this up. So I invited him to be the CEO. I then also found other good people for the management team. As with any successful startup, what I try to do is build an elite crack team who can really make something work. And so we also got in Olga Hamilton, who's one of the most respected UK Nutri-Genetix specialists. So she's been in this field for a very long time with doing genetically personalized nutrition. And Hugo Jones, who's very used to running the operations side and the sort of experiential marketing that this sort of endeavor requires. We've also been very fortunate that we've had high-profile individuals like Jamie Bulsh, who is a 9-time medalist at the Olympics, which might be quite common in America, but I can tell you in the UK that's pretty special. And then we have world-class advisors as well. So we've not only cornered the market with patents that I'll go into, which enable us to have a competitive advantage long term, but you also have the most forward-thinking and respected Nutri-Genetix specialists in the country, and we're doing the same thing in America at the moment as a team who's with us. Should we go to the next slide? So what we have in this patent is quite special, and any company I've built has always got strong patents. I'm particularly used to working in biotech where patents are everything. So what I noticed is that everybody wanted a genetically personalized product like I paid my £10,000 for, but it was cost too much and it was prohibitive. So I was looking at how do you make this affordable? And what I started to do was analyze huge amounts of data. I also am an economist, strangely. So I ran econometric regression analyses, and I was able to see that rather than it being that, of all the different nutrients you need, that there are thousands of varieties between us, what I found was that there were cluster groups. So actually we all fit into these clusters. And we find that there's just over 20 different variants that people generally fit into with over 95% accuracy. And so you're able to actually produce with economies of scale for genetically personalized nutrition. And these are things that we've then been able to patent how we do that and how we then produce our products and the exact levels we use. And what that means is we've been able to bring down the cost to actually something that is so affordable that it only costs a couple of pounds per meal, or just over a couple of dollars per meal. And so you're talking about nutrition that is genetically personalized to you for the first time ever, that people can buy for less than a cup of coffee, whereas obviously I paid £10,000 for mine. So we really have achieved something quite remarkable with this patent, and we're very proud of it. And this was done by Matthias Squire, who's one of the most respected patent attorneys in Britain.
Thanks, Alex. So just touching on a couple of sort of hard truths, really. You suffer from cognitive and physical decline from as early as the age of 30, and it really shows on these studies. If you look on the far left, we're looking at the rate of cognitive decline, and in the study in the middle, it shows muscle mass with associated strength declining over time as well. And rather intriguingly and unfortunately, cognitive decline actually is faster in people with less muscle mass. So it's quite an interesting data set, because it really makes you realize how quickly things can start to struggle. And so optimizing nutrition is really important for combating that. That enables you to maximize really that sort of cognitive and physical function at every stage, and really helping you to offset and slow the decline and really help improve physical strength and muscle mass over time, so that you can not only have optimal cognitive function and a stronger physique, but can actually add years to your life as well. We're talking increased longevity, improved happiness, building muscle, really right the way across the sort of health, fitness and well-being spectrum. Nutrition is fundamental for all of those elements. Now, At NGX, we optimize that nutrition by matching those product formulas to individual needs, and importantly, in a convenient way. As Alex said, it used to be incredibly complex and expensive to do. So this is an example of a chap called, also called Alex, actually. And as you can see, the gold bars in the chart in the left corner there represent his individual needs, which, as you can see, in many instances go well above the red line, which reflects the average guideline amount for that specific nutrient. And what we do with NGX Body Fuel, which is one of our hero personalized products, we then match pretty much with a 95% accuracy in most cases, the product formula to the individual's needs. And that really enables Alex then to optimize his nutrition through a couple of meals every day. And overcoming the challenge that where people used to have no easy way to find out what they actually need individually, and also then to go away and achieve what they actually need on a daily basis as well. So NGX Body Fuel is very new, and really we look at this as more nutritionally complete for you than any other shake, because there's nothing else out there that is really as targeted to your needs as Body Fuel is. You know, calling out a few features, obviously we personalize to the DNA. You know, it's a convenient all-in-one meal. We use plant-based, high-quality ingredients. You know, it's a protein-based product with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and of course it tastes very good. And reflecting on some of those benefits and those elements discussed a few slides ago, you know, this really helps contribute to improving that longevity, improving happiness, you know, making you feel better, making you perform better, making you really just you know, have better energy levels and enjoy life. And we've already achieved in the region of 10 nutrition innovation awards from a range of quite high profile, certainly in the UK, brands such as Men's Fitness and Women's Health. We really recognize the innovation in the product. A quick word on the markets. We are disrupting and we're looking to really grow into really big and fast growing markets, which have a combined value of over 275 billion pounds sterling. You know, we're talking vitamins, minerals, snack bars, protein powders, and DNA testing on the chart on the left. And as you can see, they're all growing, forecast to grow between sort of 6 and 7%, with DNA much faster still at nearly 20. But there are many more markets beyond that as well, you know, like the home food, home delivery, ready to drink as well. Many markets that we can actually expand into because of our patent structure and really just the nature of personalizing nutrition. It really is a huge opportunity. And the chart on the right really is just showing that we've created a genuine USP with really high entry barriers to create this impenetrable moat. There have been genetic testing companies out there such as DNA Fit and 23andMe, as Alex mentioned, and convenient nutrition companies like your Soylent and your Huel and your Ample. But there's actually no one that's been able to bring this together so far, and that's because of the specialist knowledge that is required to actually make it happen. We've also got the patent pending, as we've already discussed, and we've developed some proprietary tech along the way over the last 3 years. There's a huge amount of R&D that's actually gone into the formula development and the systems and processes in the back end to actually make this scalable. But ultimately, it's the continuous innovation that will also provide us with the edge and maintain our competitive advantage going forward. A word on our sort of routes to market at the moment. On the white on the left-hand side, we have our specialist DNA testing partners, and we have specialist nutrition manufacturers, and we've just really brought the product to market in the UK after a long period of R&D and lots of testing. And we have these personalized insight and powdered products, and we've been going to market through our website and digital marketing efforts and a few trial partnerships. But post-funding, what we're looking to do is really start to ramp it up. We've proven the model in terms of the customer acquisition cost and the average customer value. So we're going to be accelerating things like our blood testing partners and wearable tech, these incremental add-ons to the whole personalized sphere. We're launching into the US. We've enabled the distribution into the US already, and we've unlocked the EU as well. Canada is still to come, so we just need the budget now to launch there. And we've got a range of products to develop as well. As I mentioned, the vitamins, the bars, the ready meals, and the ready to drink. and going through and coming to market through a host of new partners, in particular in the sort of corporate wellness insurance space, and I'll touch on that in a bit more in a few slides. Ultimately, we've created a very highly profitable subscription-based model where once we get the customer and they do the DNA test, they then buy a pouch of body fuel or personalized product, which they then subscribe to on a regular basis. Now that subscription might be, if they were taking the product 2 meals a day every day, that would be about £100 UK, £110 UK on a monthly basis. And we have a range of product upsells as well, and cross sells, and which we're automating and setting up in the back end, so we can then really drive that customer value and increase it over time. So you can see at the moment our customers were already quite way up this curve, which is fantastic to see. And really the ongoing R&D and the drive on referrals will help increase both our way up the curve. And we're planning on getting up to £1,000 revenue per subscriber in the next couple of years. So there's a little word on our R&D roadmap to own this kind of personalized food space. In 2022, we completed, as I mentioned, the test, the reporting, a pro version of a product, flavor boosters. We've now also completed a quiz-based diagnostic and a quiz version of our product as well to really broaden the range of personalization that we can do, along with some recovery shakes that and performance improvements for like a power pack, as well as additional shake boosters and flavor boosters as well. And we have a range of other products in the pipeline where the R&D has started, and we'll continue to add incremental value to the customer over time.
And we've got, it's worth just pointing out some of the things around NDA there, but they're things that are patentable. We can't say too much, but there are obvious things that boost retention, such as new flavors and being able to have workout packs. But there are more subtle things as well, such as things that can improve longevity and anti-aging that people can add to their shake. So it's almost like they're an alchemist and they put in their NutriBullet all these extras. And the customers love to do that. And there's also a very fast growing field of things like mental focus and other things like that people like to buy and add in. So we basically have a platform that we can sell off the back of in this subscription-based business, which is what makes it so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a quick look at some of the results of our test marketing, to create these increasingly profitable customers. We've dramatically improved our sort of first order fulfillment time, which was around the 30-day mark, and we're now down to we can actually now fulfill in a couple of days, which has been fantastic. We've been improving our website conversion rate, our 12-month customer value through these incremental upsells and just better retention marketing, continually reducing our customer acquisition cost and achieving big improvements in our return on ad spend. And so we're actually now beyond this inflection point where our customer acquisition cost is below our customer lifetime value, which of course is the territory where you can really start ramping up spend, because you're going to be then making that money back in value over time. So just a quick word on the funding. As I mentioned, we're looking to do a £5 million funding round, and really we'll be investing in a number of areas across the business, obviously from stock, marketing, people, sales, professional services, etc. But the priority areas for growth are really around the partnerships territory, so corporate partnerships, those corporate well-being partnerships, health insurance partnerships like AXA that we've already tapped into, and Vitality that we're looking at. Health club partnerships, we've got a number of gym chain and health clubs in the UK that we're looking at, and conversations with the likes of Equinox, hopefully very, very soon in the making. So really big players, because we have a genuine USP and we're a very attractive proposition to these partners. But also through the likes of personal trainer networks and nutritionist networks as a way for those people to add incremental value to their customers and earn incremental revenue streams to their businesses. We found actually that it's a very, very popular opportunity, and there's a very big opportunity there, and we're very popular with those individuals as well. And of course, there'll be some digital marketing spend there too, and our continuous focus on research and development to continue bringing new products to market.
It's worth just pointing out that one of the key things for the US expansion strategy is the DNA testing partnerships as well. You've got a much more developed DNA testing culture in the US than we actually have in the UK, and you've got a lot more providers. And we've started discussions with them so that we can actually just piggyback off their existing customer base, because what they're finding is once they've won the customer and they paid their money for the test, they're not able to monetize those customers further. Whereas what we're able to do is come along with a repeat subscription product and basically plug that into these DNA testing providers' existing customer base, which basically enables them to have an ongoing revenue stream from a product that is unique, that nobody can get anywhere else.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So Nebula Genomics is a really good example of an early stage conversation that we have there. So yeah, just a quick look at the forecast. And we've really got a 7-year plan to take us to 100 million in revenue with a full breakdown in our Excel forecast. We'll be looking to exit probably around about the year 4 or 5 mark. We're expecting very good growth once as we get all these products and these systems turning, and we've unlocked the US. So we're expecting that we'll be getting a exit valuation of around about 450 million. That's a lot of work's gone into the benchmarking of those of that valuation when you're looking at other successful nutrition brands, of which there have been many that have been acquired in recent years. Huel is a very good example, who in their sort of 3rd or 4th year achieved in the region of a 250 million valuation off the back of about 30 million in sales, and it's because of that subscription value and that repeat business and really that reliable cash flow. And let's not forget they're not even a protected product, and they've still managed to achieve that just really on brand alone. So it shows you really what the opportunity and potential is there. And there's also potential future IPO, but I imagine we would get acquired way before we get to that point. We've already had actually a number of acquisition inquiries already. We've pushed them away because we feel like we've got a lot more that we want to do with the business before we get to that point. But just to give you an idea, there's been 94 recent acquisitions and 15 IPOs in this sort of dietary supplements and these health and wellness products over the last sort of 10-15 years or so. So very, very active space, and there's a huge amount of interest. These big companies are constantly going around buying up the really promising startups with some really interesting technology. So you can see I've dropped in a few of the big players. Glambia, they do a lot of acquisitions. They've been on the acquisition drive for many years. Huel, you've got a big budgets and have done exceedingly well, and will undoubtedly start to go down the acquisition route soon. And as well as Nestle, with who we've actually had some early conversations with and have shown some interest. Prenetics, they recently acquired DNA Fit, and the Hut Group, who own MyProtein, also have a range of brands under their banner as well. And
we've also been in discussions with, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So really just in summary, why is this a good investment opportunity? Well, it's a massive opportunity with big growing markets, so we're really on trend. It's been proven that there are some really big exit opportunities with the likes of Huel and the other nutrition acquisitions that have happened over the recent years. There's a 30x investor ROI target, possibly rising up as high as 50x over the next sort of 5 to 7 years. We've got really good protection. Unlike many brands that have actually been acquired in the space over the last few years, we do have that patent pending status. We do have some good technology underneath what we're doing, which is quite sophisticated actually, which is very difficult to copy and very difficult to break into. There's actually quite high switching barriers from a customer perspective as well, because once you're on a personalized product, of course they can't get that from anywhere else, and we have all of those additional upsells and cross sells helping to monetize that customer. We have a really extensive R&D pipeline. That's really what demonstrates long-term protection, is just that continuous innovation and continuous moving forwards. I think we've got a fantastic team as well. We've got some really unique talents in the team, as well as some really relevant and pertinent experience. So I think we are very, very much the right team to make it happen. And of course, we've had some fantastic reviews. We've had some fantastic reviews from the press and by customers. We've had these great innovation awards that really sort of demonstrated our USP versus competitors. And actually, we got some fantastic feedback from the Dragons on Dragon's Den. You may be more familiar with the US equivalent Shark Tank, the TV investment shows where you go and pitch for investment. And really, we're ready to take off. We've sold many of these personalized meals. We've really got the model in place and working well. We've already piloted a number of pilots with these big name brand partners, which we need to activate and continue to drive. And we've tripled our average customer value over the past sort of 12 to 18 months, and halving that customer acquisition cost to give us this position and the ability to invest now in acquisition and really drive the business forwards. So I think that's my last slide. So thanks very much for your time. Appreciate you listening to this live or on the webinar, and happy to field any questions.
Thank you. I mean, it's certainly a very compelling story, and I think one of the big things is as well, it's vegan friendly, which is a growing area globally, and also you don't put any other nasty stuff in it. It's pretty natural what's going in there, so that alone sets itself apart from the existing product providers before you even get to the fact that it's personalized. So, and looking at the charts and the data that you have, and Alex's own story of discovering that he needed so much different to the average person's vitamin B12 and vitamin D. I mean, all these things are really making it unique and building a very defendable moat, as Berkshire Hathaway like to talk about. So it seems like it's a fantastic product and a fantastically built business. So the question I think that a lot of investors always ask is, why now?
Well, why now? Well, I think there's several reasons really. We've now managed to prove the model in the UK, and we're very happy with what we've achieved, and with the products. That was just with really one product as well that we've managed to do that, and we now have 6 or 7 personalized products and several other upsells as well. So we've very much got the model set in the UK, and we've enabled and we've established the operational functionality for distribution and for shipping and selling in the US. As you mentioned, Roger, very much on trend in terms of the type of product with the ingredients and the very big focus on health at the moment. And really, we've got a number of partners as well lined up that we can start really hitting the ground running within the US. And so from a business standpoint, we're very much in a good place and very ready to really start to hit the accelerator. And then from an investor standpoint, we've got a growth. In fact, I was on Crunchbase this morning looking at the growth in sort of acquisitions recently, and it's picked up a lot over the last 5 years, let alone over the last sort of 10 or 15. So it's a sort of really hotting up space, and is a huge amount of opportunity with what will be a very profitable business because of the retention rates we have with customers. So it really is, from our perspective, an ideal, if not sort of sweet spot time to get involved.
I agree with everything you said, and I think one of the really exciting things is that you've already started the journey to break into the enormous US market, where there's probably far more focus on health and wellness than there is in the UK. So I think that timing for me, this opportunity is absolutely perfectly timed on so many levels. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I think Alex touched on it as well, with the DNA testing in the US. I mean, the fact that we managed to prove the model in the UK when there's not quite as much uptake in the DNA, relatively there's not as much uptake in the DNA testing as in the US. It's hugely encouraging signs, because it's really only one trajectory once we get over there.
Yeah, I mean, we've been approached by some major players who actually made well, one of them's made 3 acquisitions in personalized nutrition, which well, it's no secret, it's people like Nestle. But what they haven't been able to do, even though they paid, you know, 300 to 500 million for these companies, is actually have a patent. And so we've got a massive opportunity here where we've got something where we've patented not only the shakes, but also bars and even multivitamins that we can do genetically personalized. And the players in those spaces doing those things at the moment, say the vitamins, they're currently sending people packs of vitamins, like, you know, 6 or 7 vitamins you have to take every day. And we have a patent that enables us to do all of that in just 1 pill. And that alone is incredibly powerful, and is obviously what they're scared of, because we only need to go in with that, and those acquisitions they've made become in trouble. So we're not only prime timing this in the US now, but really prime timing probably to get acquired in the next couple of years.
It looks very much that way. I mean, you've just sort of leapfrogged over all the other attempts to sort of get into personalization, and as you say, with the DNA access, DNA testing access in the US being so much more prevalent, it means you can take the US market by storm very quickly. As long as we have investor money to fund that, please.
Yeah, that's it. We'll get there either way, but we'll get there a lot faster with the injection of capital.
Well put.
And of course, just to remind, you know, potential investors who are watching this and listening to this webinar, you know, there's a 10% coupon that rolls up and is paid out as a balloon payment either at the 36-month maturity or at any qualified financing at any point. So you know, you're picking up that carry, and then you get converted with a 20% discount into the shares. If there's a takeover happening, that's very happy days for investors.
Let's see.
Any other
Frank,
questions for us, Vanessa?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the audience, I know there's one pending right now, and I know Frank had a few queued up in the back of his head.
I think you've addressed most of the questions that I had. So I think that the 1 pill solution, I think, is key, and I can see how that would be attractive to some of your competitors in the space. You know, I mean, who would you say is the closest competitor that has a comparable technology for the IP that you possess? And, you know, has there been any discussions around licensing?
So the closest competitor in terms of technology, there were in the UK, DNA Fit were very hot on the genetic side, and were very much focused on nutrition optimization through DNA testing, and they were actually so successful they did get acquired by Prenetics a couple of years ago, and we did discuss a licensing opportunity with them, or we were going to discuss a licensing opportunity with them as one example of how we can plug into other DNA testing companies. That is potentially still potentially viable, certainly with the parent company Prenetics now. There are other companies. Obviously, there's 23andMe who we're looking at as well, but we're actually looking to shortcut some of the work there we've developed tools where people can upload their existing DNA data from other testing companies already to our platform and get an output that puts them into our funnel and actually helps them generate their personalized reports, their recommendations, and their personalized products. So I guess we're approaching it from 2 ways really. We have some of those early conversations, but we're making it easy for customers as well to get going straight away.
Yeah, it's worth saying, obviously, Huel did a similar thing, where as a UK brand that was perhaps the first recognized for meal replacement rather than, you know, like Slim Fast for just weight loss, they moved into the US, and, you know, their business in the US is like 5-6 times bigger than their UK business now, and it took off much more aggressively because the market was primed for it. And I guess we're at that point where something like Huel overlaps with DNA Fit with the genetic testing, and then something like Persona, which is a personalized vitamins that got acquired by Nestle for just under half a billion, where you bring those three things together and you've got something very unique and powerful that we have, and we have patents behind it. And it's this fundamental point of understanding how to cluster groups in a way that none of the others had realized you could do to make this affordable.
We also have as well, the blood testing side, which is something we haven't lent into too much at the moment, but we have essentially testing providers in the UK, such as GC Bioscience and a genomics company, and they do blood testing and looking at markers in the blood. And whilst they're not necessarily looking at DNA, but they're looking at tracking essentially live nutrition levels. And we're looking at partnerships with those companies as well. And we're actually sort of halfway through an agreement with GC Bioscience, who also incidentally have 1,000 personal trainers who use them on a regular basis, which will provide a really fantastic route into personal trainers. But they do that sort of blood testing on a monthly and bi-monthly basis for the clients of personal trainers, and we will be plugging in with them to essentially provide a nutrition proposition for the client as well. So not only can they track what their nutrition levels are, but then they actually can have something to help optimize on the process, because we found that people really like to be able to see the data. And you can take nutrition products and it can take a little time to feel the difference. You need to wait a couple of weeks, but when people can actually see the difference in the blood and the levels changing, you really have that data to back up and support the product value proposition essentially.
And they can see that just within a few days of switching to our product, that suddenly their vitamin and mineral levels will be optimum.
I'm excited. I ordered mine. I'm ready for it to arrive.
That's very cool.
Yeah, some questions here. So I am going to unmute William Singer. And I think on your side, William, you're unable to mute yourself too if you want to ask live. His first question had to do around price point, actually. There you are. You're green.
I have a multitude of questions because I have owned and operated many businesses. I think it's fantastic what you guys are doing, by the way. As you enter the U.S. market, where do you see your biggest number of customers coming from? Like you're talking about the personal trainers, etc. Are you also going to do web marketing, going after, everyday Joe, to expand into the market quickly?
Sure. So the important part to begin with is taking an element of focus, because obviously if we bite off too much in one chunk, it will become very hard to swallow. So geographically, we're looking at obviously East and West Coast to the priority targets. And when it comes to the marketing, we do take a segmented approach for the product and the proposition. So we have customers that take our product to help build muscle and achieve really good physiques. We have people looking to sort of more generally lose weight. We have triathletes looking to improve performance. And more recently and more profitably, actually, we have a slightly older focus. So those initial segments were sort of in the demographic of 30 to 45 years old. And we started exploring relatively recently a demographic between 45 and 60 with a more sort of longevity focus, which there's a little bit of a lean towards that in this deck. And because of the higher purchasing power of that audience group and the elevated need in terms of very much feeling the effects of aging, actually we're seeing better conversion rates in that group, and we're seeing better customer value and retention in that group. So when we go to the US, whilst we're looking at East and West Coast, we'll start with a focus on that particular audience group.
Now, will you be using co-packers in the United States for your product? And then how are you going to source? Is your product organic? non-GMO? Like what are your focuses there?
Cool. So initially, we're in the very early stages where we are now. We distribute from the UK. The next step will be to set up local warehouses. Our product has an 18-month shelf life to 18 to 24-month shelf life. And because of the archetype-based approach that we take operationally, it means that we can actually set up locally in East-West Coast in order to then distribute to those local markets in a relatively straightforward manner. Our DNA testing partner in the UK also has a sister lab in the US as well. One of note is in Boston, for example. And so actually then ramping up the DNA testing will be quite relatively straightforward as well, because we have those relationships established. And sorry, what was the second part to your question again?
Well, your sourcing of the products inside, are they non-GMO, organic, and where are you sourcing from? I know personally, I won't buy any food products from China. I just don't trust the quality or what they put on the package label. So
sure. The ingredients are sourced from around Europe, actually. So they're blended and mixed in the UK, up in Aylesbury. And like we steer clear of ingredients from China as well. That's very important to us. And also, a part of our company values on the sustainability side of the business is we don't want to create a huge carbon footprint whilst we're actually also able to reduce carbon emissions through our product. I mean, if you look at the kilograms of CO2 produced from beef versus the ingredients we use a lot of pea protein, brown rice protein, we use flax seeds, we really use sort of whole food ingredients, premium ingredients for the product. And that was very important to Alex in particular, and Olga, when we initially set this company up, that we were creating a product that didn't have all those nasty ingredients that you were mentioning in the beginning of the presentation, Alex.
Yeah, so we don't have synthetics or bulking agents, or it's a completely natural product that achieves a level of nutrition beyond that anybody can offer. And I think that's really shocked everyone, because often they do synthetic ingredients under the auspices that otherwise you can't get to those sorts of levels. So we've done a unusual feat.
Oh, brilliant. I'm actually personally going to order some. I'm excited to learn more. Unfortunately, I have to jump on a call here, but I really appreciate it. And I have passed this along to some customers, because I'm looking at like the baby boomers. And a friend of mine, a couple things came to mind. One, I used to use a company called the Juice Ranch in Santa Barbara, which I would go in and they would have glass bottles, which was brilliant because you paid a deposit, but then you had to go back. And I started getting a regular juice order because they made it freshly. They had a co-packing place with their own kitchen, and then they delivered it to their different locations. I would go in, pick up my order, and I'm like, wow, that would be a great partnership for you, something like that, because it's high-end, people focused on nutrition. It's a product you could just do a rev share or something like that for the recurring side for a little bit. And then on the baby boomers, a friend of mine sold a company called A Place for Mom, which focuses on active retirement, et cetera, which, it's either they take Centrum Silver or they could use your product, so.
Exactly. I think you're absolutely right. The baby boomers is a great.
And Vanessa, thank you for allowing me to ask those questions.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, that was perfect. And then so since we are out of time for the most part here, let's just touch on the opportunity one more time. But happy to circulate all this information to everyone that joined us today. And thank you to our speakers, Jeremy and Alex. Thank you so much. Very informative presentation. I mean, I learned things that I didn't previously know, so really excited. And then Roger and Frank, I'll let you speak to the opportunity here.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic presentation. Thank you both. And I found out more than the materials have told us. There's so much more to learn on this. It's going to be very difficult for anyone to catch up with you. So that really is helping that defendable moat. So just on the investment side again, it is a Reg D 506C convertible note. 5 million sterling is the raise amount. It's 36 months is the term. And at the end of the term or at any qualified financing, there's a 20% discount for the convertible note holders into equity. And all the time that they're sitting there, they're earning a 10% coupon, which is paid at the end. And the minimum investment is 150,000 sterling. Feel free to write a check for the 5 million if you are so enamored.
I love it. I love it. Like I said, I will circulate all this data to everyone here, and Jeremy and Alex's contact along with Roger and Frank. But thank you all for joining us, audience and speakers. So cheers.
Thanks so much.